Hi everybody, it is Dana Lavoie and I am just so happy to be here live with you today. If you are joining me live, please feel free to pop in the comments and say hi. Let me just make sure, there we go, that I can see all your comments. Perfect. Okay, so if you don't know who I am, my name is Dana Lavoie. Hi everybody. And today I'm going to show you how I make my non-greasy, chemical-free, long-lasting, hormone-friendly cream eyeshadow. So if you don't know who I am, I spend most of my time helping women, hi Francesca, I spend most of my time helping women use highly customized herbal remedies for menopause relief and healthy aging after menopause. If you want to know more about herbs for menopause, just go watch a free training I have on my website. It's at danalavoielac.com/masterclass. I put a link in the comments. But the thing is that those herbal remedies work better when supported by a hormone-friendly diet and lifestyle. And part of that hormone-friendly lifestyle is avoiding hormone-disrupting chemicals, including the ones found in many makeup products. Even putting very small amounts of those hormone-disrupting chemicals on your skin, if you're doing it like every day, can have a significant effect on your hormones. Now, the good news is there are so many great all-natural makeup brands out there today that really perform. But even with all that, I still have trouble finding a cream eyeshadow that I like. Now, the blog that I put out earlier this week was on one of my favorite eyeshadow looks, and I give a little tutorial on how to create it. It's really easy and flattering and kind of universal, but I also showed how I've updated the look since I turned 50, which I think is kind of cool. And that particular look, you can do it with a powder, but it works really well with a cream eyeshadow. I find that most cream eyeshadows out there are either they're greasy and hi Raul, Linda, hi Linda. I find that I don't like anything greasy around my eyes. I just hate the way it feels, and a lot of organic all-natural cream eyeshadows are a little bit greasy, or they crease, or they're not long-lasting, or even though they're all-natural, they still have some weird ingredients in them that I don't like, or that don't agree with me. So I make my own, and I wanted to show you guys how I do it. And I hope you don't feel cheated, because it is so quick and easy. And then I am going to answer any questions that you may have about anything. I'm here for you today, so you can just pick my brain. So to make my cream eyeshadow, you only need 2 ingredients. One is a loose mineral powder eyeshadow. I have 3 I'm going to show you today, and they are from a brand called Root Pretty. I like their products because they are very clean ingredients. They're a great price. They have some pretty great colors, and they have really good even coverage. Some mineral powders don't have such a good coverage, but these ones they're really good. So if you can find colors that you like, but there's definitely other good mineral powder eyeshadows out there. The main ingredient you want to look out for in those is something called bismuth oxychloride. The really clean mineral powders don't have that, but the second tier ones do, and it is a skin irritant. So it's better if you can find one that doesn't have that ingredient. So the other ingredient that you need is aloe vera gel. That's it, just those 2 ingredients. And what you do is, let me get where I can see so I make sure that I'm showing you this. You just take your aloe, this is from Mountain Rose Herbs, and it's like one of the purest aloe vera gels that I could find, but you just use whatever you can find. And you just take a little bit of it. I just put a little drop of it in my hand. And then you take your mineral powder eyeshadow. So I'm going to show you this one. It's called, if you can see that, it's called Tan Rose. And it's like it's a nude, kind of universally flattering kind of a color. And so as you can see, the light's a little funny. This is maybe going to be better if I go this way. Yeah. So I've just got a little bit of the eyeshadow and a little bit of the aloe vera gel in my hand, and I'm just going to mix them together. Now, if you use more aloe and less minerals, it's going to come out more sheer. If you make it thicker like a paste, then it's going to be more opaque coverage. And now I've got it on my brush, and all you need to do to use it is just paint it on. And I hope you guys can see that. The coverage is just amazing. And what's amazing about it too is you can create, like if you want to create, like a swoop, like a certain shape in your eye makeup or something like that, you can totally do that. And once it dries, it'll absolutely stay like that. And it's such even coverage. I don't know if you can see that. It's just such beautiful, even coverage. You can do your whole lid. And what you can do too is you can layer it. So you can sort of let it dry and then put another layer on if you want it thicker in certain areas. And also after it's dry, you can buff it. So after it's dry, you can take a fluffy brush that's clean and you can buff, like you can soften the edges if you want, or if it was too intense, you can just buff it and it'll kind of thin it down. So it's really, really versatile and it stays on forever. I swear, it's amazing. It stays on all day. It doesn't crease. The edges stay clean. And let's see, I thought I would show you another color. This one's just like a little darker, so I thought it might be easier to see. It's like a pink. It's an eyeshadow, but it's pink. And I'm gonna get a little bit more aloe vera. And I'm just going to mix those together on my hand. And then, like I said, you can just, this one I did a little bit more sheer, but you can just see how it goes on so beautifully. And that one's nice and sheer. Now I could add more powder, or sometimes I'll do a sheer coat like this over my whole lid and crease and everything. And then I'll go back and I'll do another layer of it, right? Like maybe I want heavier coverage just near the lash line. So once I've got my sort of sheer coating everywhere, like I said, you can go back and you can put a second coat, maybe where you used a little bit more powder and a little bit less aloe on just part of it. See how it's darker at the bottom now? Because I did 2 layers. So it's incredible the different types of coverage you can get and how easy it is to mix and match and blend them. And there's one other thing I wanted to show you, which is this this color is called Gunmetal. It's a really, really dark gray with a little bit of a shimmer to it. And I will say that this does work better on shadows that have a little bit of a shimmer to them. It doesn't have to be glittery. Just a very satin sheen works just totally fine. And what I'm going to do with this dark gray color is I'm going to mix it with a little bit, oops, I just got eyeshadow on my keyboard. I'm going to mix it with the aloe, and I'm going to make a liner. And this is really fun to do. And so this is called Gunmetal. It's sort of like a slightly bluish gray. And you can see it made like that. And then what you can do with this is you can create a really fine line. You can make the line thicker. You can build it up. And you can absolutely create like a cat eye effect. You will need a little bit of a, a fine brush to do this, obviously, but you can make it as fine as you want, as thick as you want. And it is amazing how long this will last for you during the day. I mean, I really, really mean it. Once you get it on there and just give it a couple of minutes to dry, you can layer it to make it darker. You can use a darker color. You can also, once it's dry, one thing I sometimes like to do is I'll go in with a clean brush, like after it's dry, and sometimes I will soften the upper edge, of the liner. And just, it's not dry yet, but you can just smudge it out and soften it, or you can leave it as a hard line and it'll stay like that all day long. So this powder eyeshadow that I'm using is from, they sell you these samples that have like a ton of product in them. Let me see if it'll focus on that. This is called Paris, Oops, let me see if I can get it to focus for you. It's by a brand called Root Pretty, ROOTPRETTY. And I like them because they're small, they're locally owned, they make their own products. Everything is super clean ingredients. They have a huge product line, and the prices are very reasonable, and things you can get refills, you know, so it's eco-friendly. You know, sometimes when I get one of their lipsticks or something, I find that there's like it's like a little lumpy or rough or something. Like it's, they don't, you know, blend it and grind it maybe as much as a higher end brand that costs 5 times as much. But their stuff is great, and their basic mineral eyeshadow powders have a really, really nice coverage to them, which is not always the case. And they have like a ton of colors. All right, so that is what I wanted to show you guys. That's my cream eyeshadow. You can do it with any color. You can do it with nude, you can do it with metallics. And I will say this, when you use the mineral powders like this, it intensifies the color and the shimmer. So if you have a color that's like sort of a medium shimmer or whatever, this will make it a little bit more shimmery, and it will make the color a little bit more intense. So you might want to start with something that's a little bit mellower than what you want to end up with if you were using it dry. Okay, and you know, you can layer these, you can layer powders on top, you know, whatever. It is just so easy and so versatile, and a great thing to be able to pull out when you need it. So now I just want to answer questions for you guys. If you have questions about, you know, makeup or Valentine's Day or anything about menopause, hormones, herbs, diet, lifestyle, I would love to answer questions for you guys. You can just, I'm here for a little while. You can just kind of pick my brain, and I'm just going to make sure that I'm not missing any comments that might be popping up where I shared this video. But what about you guys? Or let me know, like, what are you doing for Valentine's Day? And do you use cream eyeshadow? Do you use powder eyeshadow? Linda says, is it waterproof? So it's not waterproof. Like aloe vera gel is water soluble. So if it gets really wet, it will run. Like if you go swimming in it, no, it's not waterproof, but it's very, very smudge proof. Like it doesn't just spontaneously smudge or crease or move around really. But no, it's not actually waterproof. You can wash it off with water. I mean, I find that if like a drop of rain falls on your face, you know, you're going to be fine. Like it definitely has some staying power to it, but it is not full on waterproof. No. Okay, just checking to make sure I'm not missing any comments, but what you guys must have some kind of questions, right? Like what brands of mineral makeup do you use? Or are there certain colors you're having trouble finding, or certain makeup products that you're having trouble finding natural, you know, chemical-free alternatives for that perform really well? Anything like that? Be happy to talk about that with you guys. Like I said, I'm just gonna make sure I'm not missing any comments here. But I know that Valentine's Day, it's going to be kind of an interesting one this year because we're all in quarantine. So I decided to do some blog posts sort of in honor of that. And this is one, it's just kind of a fun sort of sideline from what I usually do. Yeah, Linda, so Bare Minerals. So, I mean, I use Bare Minerals too, like a, you know, kind of forever ago. Let's see. Let me put this. A really long time ago. Sorry, I'm just making sure this is like in my group. I used Bare Minerals forever ago. They were kind of what I started with mineral powders, and they have bismuth oxychloride in their mineral powders, and they have some chemicals in their other products that I'm not totally in love with. They're clean, but they're not as clean when it comes to chemicals as a lot of other products out there these days. So I don't really use them anymore, but they're a good like halfway in between point. But you might even find that you can find brands that are more clean that perform really well. There's another brand of mineral makeup that I really like that has a lot of really, really, really nice loose powders also with excellent coverage and really nice colors and great finishes. It's called Moody Sisters. I think I have a couple of their eyeshadows. I don't know if you guys can see that. They're called Moody Sisters, and they're just like this small brand run by this two sisters, which I love to support. And if you go on their Facebook page or contact their customer service, they make you feel like part of the family. They ship really, really fast. Their prices are amazing. And their loose mineral powders, like this one is called, actually, I'll show you something with this one. Let me see if I can find the name. I'm not sure what the actual name of this one is, but it's a really, really light, cool pink that is somewhat sheer. And you can see it's like, let me pull up the picture so I can see it, what I'm showing you. It's this really light pink, and I'm gonna mix it with some of the aloe vera. And this actually would make a really great shimmer to where you're not gonna be able, it's so sheer you're not gonna be able to see it too much. But that would be something, what I would do with that is I would wear it as a face shimmer on my cheekbones, you know? So you can use this anywhere. You can put on your collarbones, your shins. I don't know, you can see that showing up a little bit, I think. And it's this wonderful sheer even coverage. And then when it was dry, I would just kind of go over around the edges a little bit with a clean brush to make sure there wasn't like a line where it started and ended. But you can absolutely use that anywhere, or you could use it as like a sheer shimmer wash on your eyes. So Moody Sisters, like I said, like they've got these great prices, and they've got really nice even coverage on their mineral powders, and they have really nice colors. They don't have as many colors as Root Pretty, but they have a really good color selection, and I just like them. Linda says, not so much makeup going on these days with COVID. I know, it's true. Though I have to say that like having my daily routine and getting up and, you know, doing my exercise and getting dressed and putting on my makeup and then sitting down at my desk to work, it kind of makes me feel better. Some days I do, some days I don't, but especially if I'm recording videos or I'm going live, it makes me feel a little bit more normal to put it on. But I like putting on makeup. I find it's just like a really fun formula. Can something be done similarly for foundation? Yes, absolutely. So if you're going to use a mineral powder for foundation and you want to turn it into not a dry powder, I would actually recommend mixing it with oil instead of aloe vera. So you can just take a little bit of oil. I like rosehip seed oil because it's not greasy. And you just have to get the mixture right, like the right amount of oil to powder for the coverage that you want. And you can just mix them together and then apply them with a brush. You can use like a face brush. And the thing about it is that because it's a liquid, like if you're putting on a cream foundation, you need a stiffer brush. If you're putting on a liquid foundation with an oil base like that, I mean, you can put it on with your fingers for sure and just kind of like blend it in. But make sure the brush that you use is dense but soft, because you'll just make it streaky and kind of rub it away otherwise. You know, you could even use a really almost like a powder brush to kind of really smooth and buff it. And it makes, and you can also mix it with a moisturizer or to make like a tinted moisturizer. So with a cream product, like instead of an oil, like your face cream moisturizer, or even, you know, like a SPF 30 moisturizer or something like that. So you can mix it with a moisturizer, or you can mix it with just a few drops of an oil and see which one you like better. I find that it's just a little bit hard to get the coverage exactly right, you know, because it kind of varies from day to day, but it does work. And I also find mixing it up ahead of time doesn't work that well, but you can mix it together. You could use little tiny measuring spoons and figure out how much powder to how many drops of oil to get a consistent amount of coverage. And if you use too much oil, it's going to be more sheer, and it can just be a little bit like greasy. If you use too much powder, it doesn't spread well and it's too opaque. So yeah, I've done that. You can absolutely do that. It can be a little bit messy, but it works. You can also, if you use a really, really good mineral powder foundation, it actually should have a creamy finish when you put it on. Minerals that are very, very pure actually have a creamy finish when you put them on. It shouldn't feel powdery and dry. So you might want to experiment with that. Another thing I like to do is put on a mineral powder foundation, and then when I'm done getting it all worked into the skin, take a little bit of a balm, not a liquid, but something that's like almost like a solid consistency. You could use a tiny, tiny bit of shea butter, or something like any kind of face balm, and just take a tiny bit and really warm it up in your hands, and then just like press, don't rub, but just press your palms to the skin of your face to just kind of moisten the surface and get rid of any dry feeling from the powder. Or you could mist your face with like a face mist. So you might find, like for me personally, I went through a phase of using the powder foundations with oil, and I found that it just, over time, it was kind of a pain, and I'd rather just use the powder foundation as a powder and then just press some moisture over the top. All right, you guys have any other questions? Because I would be happy to answer them. I can answer questions about makeup, but I'd also be happy to answer questions about anything else. If you have any questions about menopause, about the stages of menopause, about how to get relief from menopause, or what to do after menopause, or anything like that, bring them on. Don't be shy. Put them in the comments. Yeah, mineral powders are so versatile. Like I often even if I'm using a cream foundation or something, if I need like a spot concealer, I will use a mineral powder and just dab it directly with a little brush on the spot, and it just disappears. They have such great coverage. You can use a mineral powder foundation as a finishing powder with a real fluffy soft brush to get a little extra coverage. Yeah, Mountain Rose Herbs is actually a local company here in Eugene, Oregon, where I live, and they are a great company. They do lots of great stuff. I hold them in very high regard. I really like their aloe vera gel and some of their skincare oils. Like, you can buy sea buckthornberry oil from them, which can be hard to find. And those types of like oils that you make your own oils and moisturizers out of, I've always had really good results getting those from them. They've always been really fresh and worked really well. Not a big fan of their essential oils. I can't use those. They cause a reaction in me, and I use essential oils all the time. So that's, I love some of their products, and I love the company as a whole. Yeah, right. So like a rose hydrosol is wonderful as a toner, and you can use that on top of your makeup, midday to refresh. Like, so good for so many things. All right, you guys, this is fun. I know there's a few of you out there. Are you sure you don't have any questions about colors or application, or you're looking for a great mascara or anything like that? Like anything to do with hormone-friendly diet or lifestyle or menopause or hormones? Do you guys use like face oils as moisturizers? I know I do all the time. They're my favorite way to moisturize my face. All right, you guys. So so here's the deal. I want you to try this. Get some aloe vera gel. And like I said, like from Root Pretty, you can order these little samples. You can get samples from Moody Sisters too. There's Alima Pure also has great mineral powders. They're in Portland, Oregon. And they have these samples that are like so generous in size. So you can try all kinds of colors, and they're very cost effective. And get a little aloe vera gel. Get a little bit of the loose mineral powder eyeshadow, and let me know how it goes. Send me a picture, send me a note, let me know if it worked for you, how it felt on your eyes. Did it last all day? Did it give the effect you were looking for? Did you have any trouble using it? Linda says hair loss. Yeah, so that is really common. And in Chinese medicine, which is what my background is in, your hair is fed by your blood and the microcirculation in your scalp delivering nutrients. And starting in menopause, our yin watery essence declines. So yin watery essence can be equated with estrogen and progesterone, and we know, those start to decline at menopause, and they just, tend to be low from there on out. And blood and yin are two variations of the same thing. Like if you have a lot of yin watery essence in your body and you need some blood, you could just make it out of yin. If you have a lot of blood and you need some yin, you can make yin out of blood. They're interchangeable almost. So as yin really starts to decline, the blood also feels the effect. We get sort of more dried out, right? And it's harder to make the stuff that nourishes your hair. And the underlying thing that's usually happening there is just those low female hormone levels, that juicy, watery, nourishing goodness, which is what nourishes the hair. It's declining and it's gone too low. And the other thing that can happen is as we get older, our circulation tends to get a little sluggish or a little clogged up here and there, or there's just not enough energy to send it everywhere. And so the microcirculation in our scalp that delivers what nutrients are available to our hair can also become less. And so the two big underlying things to support healthy full hair are to make sure that that yin watery essence is supported. And I do that with herbal remedies. And to support, you want to be supporting your estrogen and progesterone levels from early perimenopause all the way through menopause and in all the years after menopause. You never want those to fall too suddenly or too low or to get out of balance with each other. If keeping those hormone levels higher rather than lower, it makes aging so much more pleasant. There's so many signs of aging that are related to those hormone levels. Like, yes, they drop during menopause, but they're not supposed to drop to zero. And our body usually needs help to keep them just a bit higher than they would be otherwise. And it makes all the difference when it comes to so many of those signs of aging. Now, of course, you can also have hair loss issues if it's like due to thyroid. So if your thyroid gets out of whack in one way or the other, you can have hypothyroid, you can have autoimmune thyroid. Like, definitely, if you have a really serious hair loss, I would get your thyroid checked out. But again, the thyroid, if it's low, means not enough energy, not enough juice, not enough something, right? Because we want to keep all our energy supported. Or if it's more like an autoimmune thyroid, things are being dysregulated. And so those are also things that we're always supporting with the herbal remedies, making sure all the energies are supported and that all the systems are regulated, not overactive, not underactive. And doing that kind of sets the stage for healthy hair. And then if you want to add in, like some hair specific nutrients or some essential oils on your scalp or something like that, a special vitamin, it's great. And there are herbal formulas, especially there's an herb called hushawu, which is especially good for the hair. But the quality of the hushawu and the processing of the hushawu is very, very important. You have to get the right hushawu. And then there are certain herbal formulas that combine it with herbs to increase microcirculation in the scalp. And so those are the types of herbal formulas that we would use for hair, but you don't want to use them alone. They are not enough. You've got to go and make sure those underlying energies are supported and that the thyroid is getting support for being balanced out for those more sort of symptomatic treatments to work. Yeah, so rice rinse and rosemary and castor oil, those are great. Those are going to help to maximize your hair, but the amount of hair you have to maximize is more related to the underlying hormonal shift that caused the hair loss. So there's always two levels of treatment. There's the symptom level, and you absolutely want to do that, right? But it's like a Band-Aid on the surface. You don't want to walk around without a Band-Aid on an open wound. I mean, it's really important, but you've got to get to the underlying cause of the issue, or you're just going to be wearing Band-Aids for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? You want to get to the underlying cause as well. And sometimes women don't know how to do that. And so that's really where I'm coming from with my treatments, is combining symptom management with treating the underlying imbalance that's causing the symptom. And then what happens usually over time is you can use less herbs for symptom management and more for supporting the energies, and all of a sudden symptoms stop appearing. It's sort of a preventative wellness approach. It's really, really fun. I talk about that a lot in the masterclass, danalavoie.lac.com/masterclass. I put a link in the comments about symptom control herbs versus herbs for the underlying cause, and how to balance those when you have a lot of symptoms, and how to transition when you start having less symptoms. It's one of my favorite things. But yeah, rosemary, and there are some great, I have an essential oil recipe book that has recipes in it for different hormonal issues. And there's some great essential oil recipes for hair care, and rosemary is always in all of them. Linda says, my thyroid is good. I had some hormonal issues in September, and GYN said it was related to body stress. Yeah. So here's the thing. Stress is a hormone, right? Cortisol, adrenaline, like stress on one level is hormonal. It is chemicals in our body, and all the hormones in your body are very closely related to each other, like dominoes. You affect one and they all are affected. And stress especially affects female hormones for sure. Like progesterone and cortisol are sort of have an inverse relationship. Like cortisol eats up progesterone. So if you're very stressed, it's very, very hard to build up your progesterone levels. It's like if you're trying to fill a bucket with progesterone, stress is like a big giant hole in the bottom of the bucket where it's all leaking out. So as fast as you put it in, it just leaks out, and it's very hard to build up those levels to where you want them to be. Also, if you're under a lot of stress, you tend to be in a fight or flight mode a lot of the time, and that runs on energy from what I call your energy savings account, your energy reserves. Like normally you don't want to touch that. You want to just get through the day using energy from your energy checking account. Okay. And the only time you dip into the energy savings account is if a tiger is chasing you, or, you're about to be in a car accident and you have to respond really fast. Like it's there for a reason. It's great that when we need that burst of extra strength and energy, we can just grab it, but you normally don't want to use it on a regular basis, because every dollar you spend from savings, you pay $10 in interest. So if that is turned on a lot of the time, and if you're in fight or flight stress mode, that's where your energy is coming from, you end up depleting your energy reserves and getting into that whole sort of adrenal fatigue, burnout situation. And what happens is your kidney energy, your energy reserves, that is the same as your hormones, right? That is your basic, when that is empty, all your body systems tend to go a little bit haywire. It's hard to regulate them. It's hard to feel stable and calm and grounded. And anytime you need to do anything, you just need to use that energy. It leads to a lot of imbalance in the hormones. So short term, the stress affects the progesterone in a big way, and long term it think about it. If you go through a super, 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 super stressful year, what happens? Your hair turns white, right? You're like, oh, I got more gray hair. I got burnt out. I was burning the candle at both ends. Living in that place makes you age sooner, faster, earlier. And all those signs of aging are a sign of your energy reserves declining. So when we are supporting hormone levels with herbal remedies, that's what we're also supporting. All right. Stress is a hormone. Yeah. And I like I said, I think of the hormones like dominoes. You change one, they all feel the effect. Like if your stress hormone levels are really out of balance, it's almost impossible for your female hormones to be in really good balance. They are closely related to each other. They really, really are. Yeah. After menopause, this really interesting thing happens, because after menopause, you still have hormones. Your body can still make hormones, and it's really important to keep those levels not at zero, but as high as we can. But one of the things that happens is your ovaries get a lot less active after menopause. And so your adrenal glands actually take over making some of your female hormones. but those same glands also make your stress hormones. And it's sort of like the factory can only produce one product at a time. So if it's making stress hormones all the time, it never gets a chance to make the female hormones for you. So that's just after menopause, I say it's like even more important for your female hormone levels not to be in that stressed out state too often. Oh, Faith, thank you so much. That is so good to hear. She says you're an excellent teacher. I really love to teach, and I love to try to take everything that I've learned from working in women's health for so many years and with my Chinese medicine, Asian medicine background, and just like bring it to you guys in a way that feels really real, that you can feel in your body, that you can understand. That's really my passion. And I'm glad to hear that, because sometimes I worry that because I talk about this stuff all the time, I'm not starting close enough to the beginning and that you don't know what I'm talking about. So thank you. I love to hear that. Do you guys have any other makeup questions, like products that you've been looking for alternatives for, or anything like that? Let me put in the comments some of those mineral makeup brands that I like. I like Root Pretty. And there are so many others. These are just kind of, you go through like phases or whatever. But these ones all make nice loose mineral powders. Root Pretty, I especially like their eyeshadows. The Alima Pure Powder Foundation is really, really nice. And the Moody Sisters makes some great eyeshadows as well. You just kind of, like I said, they're really great with samples. So I recommend getting samples to see how you like them. Linda says, how do you feel about Neutrogena and Melaleuca products? So Neutrogena, I find, is a pretty typical brand that has fragrances and preservatives and chemicals in it that I personally don't use. So I wouldn't use that. And Melaleuca, I actually haven't looked at their products in probably 3 years, but I have used them in the past. Like their cleaning products, when they first started and they just had like a few basic products, I liked them. I thought they were good. They were just essential oils and some other pretty benign stuff. So sometimes these companies change over time, and I don't know how much they've changed, but I used to like them quite a bit. So Melaleuca, yes. Neutrogena, no, in my book. Oh, you're so welcome. I actually really like answering questions. I love when you guys show up and ask them. It's so fun. We're all like quarantined and doing our own thing, and it's really fun for me. All right, you guys, I think we're good. Go check out my blog from earlier this week and let me know how you like that eyeshadow look. Give it a try. It's one that I've worn for years and years and years and years and years. And like I said, I kind of updated it recently, but I still find that I just wear it so often because it's so easy, it's so fun, it's so versatile. I'd love to know if it works for you and what products you like to wear with it. Linda says she's using the new Melaleuca facial line. Yeah, see, like when I used some of their products, they didn't have skincare. It was just like a couple of cleaning care products. So I have not looked at the ingredient lists on those. So I don't know what's in them or not in them. All right, you're so welcome. All right, you guys, if you are watching the replay, feel free to put a question in the comments and tag me, and I will get back to you and we can talk about this more. And I have some other blog posts coming out in the next few weeks that I kind of created a whole series in honor of Valentine's Day. So I'm going to talk about like natural skincare, and I'm going to do another live 2 weeks from today. I'm going to start doing them every other week. So 2 weeks from today on Saturday at 10 a.m. And I think that's the one where I'm going to be going through all the different oils that I use for skincare, for body and face, and what kind of skin each one is good for, and all that kind of thing. I'm really excited about that. So, all right, if you have questions or specific things that you'd like me to address, you can write those into me as well. All right, you guys, let me know if you try this cream eyeshadow. I'd love to hear about it. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you soon. All right, bye everybody.